Loyalty is a virtue, obedience is survival, and rebellion is a death sentence. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Infinite Curiosities, the show where books, conspiracies, the paranormal, and everything in between get explored from the inside out. I'm Matt, and with me as always is my co-host, Shawn.
What's up, y'all? Super hyped for this one.
He's very excited for this one. He's never read this book, so I'm extremely excited to talk about it today. The Will of the Many by James Islington. If you're into secret orders, mind games, political plots, ancient power, and a main character who just barely keeps it together, this is your book. But this isn't just a review. We're going deep into what the story says about control, obedience, and terrifying logic of a world built on the will. By the end of this episode, we'll be asking, what do we obey and why?
And who's really in charge, right? Because that's the part that messed me up.
It really is. And before we get into it, make sure that you follow or subscribe wherever you're listening, drop a review, and share this episode with a friend who loves a good conspiracy. And get ready, because this season is going to be stacked with a bunch of episodes that we have coming out, John.
All right. Spoiler alert time. But don't worry.
Right. If you haven't read the book yet, the first part of this episode is totally spoiler-free. We'll talk about the vibe of the book, the world, the writing, and why it works. Then we'll give you a big, loud spoiler warning before we dive into the darker stuff. Plot twist, hidden powers, betrayal, all the good stuff that makes a really, really good book. And what makes this book so special?
So y'all can chill for now. No big reveals yet.
That's exactly right. So let's jump into it. All right, so before we get into any spoilers, let's talk about what kind of ride this book takes you on.
It's a wild one.
It really is a wild one. The Will of the Many is a damn good read. If you love epic fantasies that mess with your head, it's smart, it's layered, it's got this tension baked in every scene. Like, the stakes are always just one misstep away from disaster. You've got Vis, the orphan with a heavy past and a ton of secrets, thrown into a cutthroat elite academy where the wrong word or wrong look can get you absolutely destroyed. And all of it's wrapped in a society that runs on something called the will. This magical force, kind of like the force that we see in Star Wars, where the powerful literally drain it from the weak. Literally, the weak people are giving up their will to these elite powers.
So the rich are basically harvesting obedience like it's currency.
Exactly like it's currency. And the world building is tight. It's amazing. You're talking about Roman Empire vibes, a twisted power system, and a lot of mind games. It's not just magic, it's about control. And the way it reflects real-world systems is kind of unnerving. The book's written in first-person pretense, which means you're in Viz's head for every decision, every lie, and every close call. And he's sharp. You're shifting through the Empire's, for lack of a better term, BS, right alongside him the entire time of the book. And it really gives you that inner kind of perspective of how people in a rebellion are thinking.
And just when you think you figured it out,
the plot twists. The plot twist in this book, it's a big, to say it's a big one is an understatement. It's a huge one. And you'll get a few moments where you're just sitting there going, wait, what? And total roller coaster ride. I will say the pacing slows down a bit in spots, but overall it delivers. Some of the spots where you play with the politics and the religion aspect, and there's a lot of world building, especially in the beginning, that you kind of got to get through. But after you get through that, the setup, the characters, the tension, it all clicks. All of it fits together.
And the ending, don't get me started.
I've told Shawn a couple of things about this book, and it absolutely blew my mind. It's the kind of ending that makes you instantly look up when the next book drops. And I obviously did. I pre-ordered it already, and this is true. I've never pre-ordered a book in my life. First time I've ever done that, and it's dropping at the end of this year. So the second book of the Hierarchy trilogy will be out later this year. Obviously, this is not sponsored in any sort of way, but I genuinely believe that you've got to pick up this book. If you haven't read it yet, this is your heads up. Go check it out. Hit pause here, because from this point on, we're going to start getting some slight spoiler territory, but nothing really big yet. We'll kind of start talking about characters and the world and kind of how it runs. Later on in the story, though, later on in this episode, I will let you know when we're getting into some hardcore spoilers. So with that,
All right, guys, let's get into it.
literally couldn't have said it better myself. Coming up, what Vis is really doing at the Academy, how the will works beneath the surface, and some seriously messed up reveals about who's pulling the strings in this world.
And maybe a theory or two about what's coming next.
I mean, what is a podcast with Matt on it if it doesn't have theories in it, Shawn?
Right?
It's got to. So let's get right into it. Let's dig into the world of the will of the many, because this setting, it's heavy. We're talking about the Catenan Empire, an empire built entirely around this twisted concept of will. Think of it like magic social credits, but worse. People literally give up their will to the upper class, who use it for power, political, physical, magical, all of it. Everything in this society, your class, your authority, your worth, is measured in how much will you control. And the crazy thing is, people give it up willingly. The system is so deep-rooted that obedience isn't just expected, it's worshipped.
So wait, they just hand over their will like they want to?
Literally. And that's what makes it so creepy. It's not like they're mind controlled at all. They're not like tricked into it. They're indoctrinated. They believe that serving this higher class is their duty as an underclass. That's what makes it so dystopian without needing to be cartoonishly evil. And right at the heart of it, that system is the Catenan Academy is this elite training ground where the Empire grooms its future leaders, and it's brutal, competitive. Everything you do is watched and graded, not just your academics, but your loyalty. You step out of line, you get knocked back down. If you don't conform, you don't survive in this school. That's literally just the way it is. And let's talk about the characters, because this is where James Islington really flexes his skills. These people aren't just plot movers. They're part of the web. First up, obviously, is Vis, our main character, an orphan, a survivor, smart as hell. He enters the academy under false pretenses, so right away there's tension. He's hiding who he is while trying to master a system that's literally built to erase people like him. Then there's Colitis, Class 7, which this school is broken up into several classes. So you start at the bottom class, and as you do better, you move up in classes. And the higher you move up in classes, the fewer the group of kids is.
Okay, so like a rank.
Literally like a rank. And so depending on how good you are is how well you move up. And honestly, Colitis is one of the most likable characters early on. He's witty, he's confident, always seems to be having the right answer. He feels like a really good friend through the book and is helping Vis learn how to kind of the ins and outs of how the academies ran. And the crazy stuff that you find out about Colitis in the book. And he's this really smart guy, but doesn't want to move up classes, right? And you got to figure out, like, through the book, you're putting these pieces together of why he doesn't want to do that or what's holding him back. And you're never really sure who's safe in this world. So
are these like friends or rivals?
You know, it's really like a little bit of both, right? Because like I was saying, there's this, like, you know, this ranks that you're having to climb up. So obviously there's people that are going to be in your friend group that are trying to beat you out, right? To get up higher. That's part of the tension at the academy. Even your friends could be setting you up. It's a place where everyone is trying to climb the same brutal ladder, and there's only room for a very few at the top. Then there's Aquia Colitis, a class 4, which is obviously very high, right? She's sharp, privileged, and doesn't apologize for it. She challenges Vis in a way that makes you question where her loyalties really lie. Is she playing the game or trying to change it up? It's not clear. And we can't skip Lanista. She's Viz's tutor. One of the best things is she's blind, but super skilled. Super skilled, like hardcore fighter. She's intelligent, firm, but also thoughtful through what she does. One of the few people who seem to see him as who he is, Vis, right? But even then, you're left wondering, is she grooming him for something bigger or just another cog in the system? And finally, Sedodia, she's not part of the Academy, but she's important. She represents the other side, the resistance, the anguish. Her presence makes it clear that there's more going on beneath the surface. Vis isn't just navigating school politics, he's caught in the middle of a much bigger war. Now let's talk about setting. Not just where things happen, but why they matter. The Catenan Academy is a character in its own right. Every corridor, every hall is designed to make you feel watched. It's not just about learning, it's about pressure, obedience, and earning your spot through complete submission. This isn't Hogwarts, Shawn. Okay? You're not casting spells and flying around. It's a pressure cooker just waiting to blow up. Then there's Vis Telimus, the estate. This is Viz's new home after he gets adopted. Ulcesor adopts Vis, but it's complicated. He's not a villain. He genuinely thinks he's helping Vis, but he's a high-ranking part of the system that we're talking about is obviously grooming these kids, right, to become really strong. He believes in it. He believes in the system. He believes in order and tradition. And that creates this eerie disconnect, because even kindness in this world can be a form of control.
So there's like no real safe place.
For Vis, not at all. That's the brilliance. You know what I say for Vis, but really for any kid who's growing up in here, right? Because there's no true sanctuary for any of them, and especially Vis, right? Obviously our main character. Not even in his own head. He's constantly calculating who to trust, what to say, how to survive. And the places around him reinforce that. Whether it's the Academy, Ulcesor's home, or even the Order pulling the strings in the background, every location is just another layer of control. What really makes it sing is how the Empire itself is so convincing. It's not mustache twirling evil, right? It's not like this guy with a bowler's hat just in the corner, right? Like it believes in itself. It really truly thinks that it's doing the right thing. That's what makes it so dangerous. The people at the top truly think they're creating order, stability, and peace. But for the people underneath, it's suffocating. It's a lot, right? And that's just the setup. That's not even the whole story. Let's get into the part where everything starts to unravel a little bit. So by this point, Vis isn't just some orphan trying to get by at the Academy. He's in deep. He's climbing ranks, making connections, getting pulled into politics whether he wants to or not. And underneath all of it, there's a much bigger game being played. We start hearing about two major forces in the background. The Order, which is like the Empire's holy enforcers, tied to their belief system and the magic that keeps everything running. And the Anguish, this underground resistance movement that most people don't even believe exists. Turns out they both know exactly who Vis is, or at least what he could become. They want him, not because they care about him as a person, but because they see his potential. Danger in what he might become. And that's the wild part. We, as the reader, don't even fully know yet who Vis is. This isn't just an Empire bad, Rebels good situation either. Everyone's hands are dirty. There's this scene, skip a little bit ahead if you haven't seen it, or if you haven't read this book. But there's a scene where the rebels go to this like Colosseum, like the Roman Empire type Colosseum, and they use this beam to just slaughter all the people inside of there.
Oh my.
Full-fledged like bloodbath. The rebels just kill everybody. And even the head rebel sacrifices himself in front of everybody.
Oh.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just as manipulative and stuck in the middle is Vis, who's still trying to figure out who he can trust, if anyone. So here's where the story tightens. The stakes go from political to personal. Vis has set the whole book calculating every move, staying 3 steps ahead of danger, and now he's got to decide. Does he keep playing along, or does he finally push back? He's not just choosing between sides, he's choosing who he wants to be. And the lines are blurry. Like, yeah, Ulster gave him a home, but it's conditional. It's based on control. He's expected to serve the Empire or else. Then there's Dalian. She brings out this spark in Vis, makes him feel like he's more than just a pawn. But even that gets complicated. And let's talk about Fallon, Viz's rival. Their dynamic is intense. It's not just academic, it's personal, it's dangerous, and it represents everything wrong with the system. Fallon is privileged, brutal, and a perfect example of how the Empire rewards power and cruelty. Vis knows he wants to survive and protect the people who care about him. He's gonna have to go through Fallon or around him or under him.
So is Vis really in control, or is he just reacting?
That's the thing. He thinks he's in control. He's incredibly smart, always analyzing, always watching, but there are so many layers of manipulation going on that even when he thinks he's making a choice, you're not sure if someone else set him up. And I think that's part of what makes him such a strong character. He's not the chosen one. He's not the hero. He's a survivor in a world that doesn't allow clean choices. And when he finally does make his stand, it feels earned. Like finally, he's doing it for himself. All right, this is your final spoiler warning. I'm not teasing around it anymore. If you haven't finished The Will of the Many, skip ahead or hit pause because we're going full throttle into the ending. Still here? All right, cool. So the final act, that's when the masks come off, literally and metaphorically. First, we find out that Vis has been hiding way more than we thought. All book long, we've been watching him play his cards close to his chest. He's sharp, he's careful, he's always thinking 10 steps ahead, but then we learn he's not just a clever orphan. He's Vis Telimus, a noble. So he was actually the son of a king, born into a very class he claims to hate, one of the Empire's elite presumed dead. And suddenly, everything clicks into place. His ability to navigate the academy, his survival instincts, the way he handles politics. It's not just street smarts, it's his upbringing. He's been raised to be a player in this world. He just chose to vanish instead of become one of them.
Wait, so he was hiding his real name, his status the whole time?
The whole time. And that's the twist that spins the whole story on its head. Because you think this whole time that he's just an orphan. He's just been a boy that's been locked away. But really this whole time, he's a part of the elite society. And has just decided to vanish. But that's not even the biggest gut punch. The academy, the place where Vis has been climbing ranks, risking everything, it's not about education. This is one of the biggest, craziest things, is that the academy is not about education. Not really. It's a system that's cold, calculated, and brutal, built for one thing, to produce a single person who can survive the maze. That's it. That's the goal. Everything about the academy, the doctrine drills, the rankings, the punishment, the will extractions, the manipulation, it's all designated to test, break, and filter out students. Year after year until someone comes out the other side with the strength, obedience, and power to enter the maze and survive. And the thing is, most don't. People die trying. The maze isn't a metaphor, it's a literal test, steeped into danger and mystery. Generations of students have been pushed through this meat grinding of obedience and loyalty, all in the hope that one of them may be able to answer what the Empire is looking for. This maze, throughout the whole book, you're trying to figure out, like, they make this room, like, at the academy they have this room, and there's like big, the way to also think about this is that, like, it kind of plays into the future because they have the will, so it makes like flying cars and stuff, but it's like very Roman Empire-esque. So everything's made out of stone, right? There's like no metal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So there's this maze where these big, huge rocks are just flying around, and it's constantly changing. And there's one person telling you, like, oh, you're being followed through this maze too. So you have the potential to be caught, right?
Followed by what?
By other students. So they're rewarded if they stop you, but you're also rewarded if you make it through.
Oh, okay.
Right? So, but this whole time, like, everything is surrounded by getting through this maze, and you don't know why until you get here. And then we realize that the Empire is looking for somebody to go through this maze.
So wait, the whole school is just a funnel for this one insane test?
Literally. It's not about creating good citizens. It's about creating a weapon, a chosen one in a sense, right? Someone they can use, and the system is so big, so twisted, that even the students and teachers don't see the full picture. But Vis was built to survive, raised to understand power, and manipulated into becoming their best shot at success. So when Vis passes the maze, it's not just an achievement, it's a trap, snapping shut. Because right after that victory, the Order steps in. These aren't just monks in robes, right? They're the keepers of the Empire's belief system, the guardians of the doctrine, and now they know who Vis is. They've been tracking him, planning for him, and they want him under their control. We end on a cliffhanger, which is one of the best parts of this book. Vis is stripped of his choices, being dragged back into the world he tried to escape. Not as a student, not even as a noble, but as a tool, a weapon, a vessel for something way bigger.
So what's the deal with the Order? Are they like religious fanatics?
Basically, yes, but they're like 10 times worse. They believe that the Empire is divine, right? They decide who's worthy, who gets to rise or fall. They're the ones who enforce the will system, the doctrine, all of it. And now that Vis has passed the maze, he's not just a survivor. He's a threat and an opportunity. And again, we don't know exactly what he is yet, but the book drops some serious hints. There's something ancient in play, something tied to the anguish, to will binding, maybe even the origin of the Empire itself. The Order knows it, and Vis might suspect it, and we're just sitting here like, what the hell comes next? The ending stayed with me for days. I kept thinking about how everything Vis went through, all the manipulation, all the sacrifice, it still led him right back to the hands of the people who he was running from. It's such a grim, full circle moment, and the way the Order just swoops in like they've been watching him the whole time, it's chilling, it's ridiculous.
So is this one of those stories where the main character eventually turns into the villain, or what?
Well, that's the big question. And I mean, he's got the brains, right? Obviously. And he's got the anger part, right? So he's got the Anakin Skywalker kind of innuendos going, right? Where he's got the smarts and he's really good at what he does, and he's also got the anger. So it's really like a toss-up, right? And now he's got nothing to lose. My guess is he's going to play along just long enough to get power, then burn the whole thing down. But there's also this fear that he might lose himself. Like, what if he becomes exactly what he's been trying to not be, right? And that's the part that really, really makes it interesting. I need to know where it goes. And there's way too much still under the surface. What the anguish really are, what the Empire true history looks like, and how far is Vis willing to go?
Yeah, sounds like it's about to get a lot messier.
Messier is an understatement, because it definitely will. All right, that's a wrap on The Will of the Many. Huge thanks for everybody who stuck around with us through all the twists, the secrets, and the chaos. If you're a fan of epic fantasy, a mix of mind-bending politics and dangerous magic, this one's definitely worth a read.
Yeah, even though I'm still catching up, I'm definitely curious to see where this goes.
I'd love to see Shawn read this book. That'd be good. And I'm glad to hear it, honestly. And for everyone listening, if you like this deep dive, hit the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. I want to hear your thoughts on Viz, the magic system, or any crazy theories you have about what's coming up next in the next book. Don't be shy. We love a good debate. Also, stay tuned. We've got some exciting episodes coming up covering everything from books, cigars, whiskey, and even maybe some paranormal stories, Shawn. You're going to have to sleep with a nightlight on, man.
Oh, man.
All right. So lots to look forward to. Thank you again for listening to Infinite Curiosities. And until next time, stay curious.